Now, I've been seeing online people talking about, or at least one content creator in particular, saying how, people say that there's no original films anymore and all these new movies suck and they don't make good movies anymore. His thought that you're not really looking and you don't like film, and that's okay. You really don't love film, because if you love film, you find them. Now, when I first saw that video, I was a little perturbed by that statement because I'm kind of torn. I feel like, yes, there's not a lot of great movies coming out. As far as the masses, like quantity-wise, you have more bad movies than you have good movies, or more movies that aren't particularly great compared to having these great films. And I feel like, especially to the masses in the mass productions, that they are lower quality and more in quantity and less in quality. But in that same breath, I feel like we have a lot of great films that just aren't getting the recognition they deserve. And quite a few films I got to see this week fall in that category. 3 films in particular at my 4-film movie day, I feel that are criminally underrated, not getting the love and even the chance they deserve to be seen because of how small window these films are being portrayed in theaters, if even at all. First film I saw was Splitsville, which is one I've been looking forward to for quite some time, ever since I saw the first trailer, and came out my local theaters for exactly 1 week. Came out on Thursday, gone by Friday. And even in that week, they only had maybe 3 or 4 screenings a day, if that. Second film I got to see was Baltimoreans, which was directed by Jay Dupass. He has a background in improv and like comedy and stand up and improv. I think he has more background in improv. He did a couple films I saw. I've never been a huge fan of his. Like, I like his films, but I don't think they were ever really fantastic or great. But Baltimoreans was a complete 180 for me. I absolutely adore that movie. And ironically, I actually had to drive to Northern Virginia to see it, and it wasn't playing in Baltimore. And the movie had literally shot, and the entire film is about Baltimore. Like, it's filmed in Baltimore. The whole movie's about Baltimore, yet couldn't see it in Baltimore. Had to go to Northern Virginia to see it. Although I do think it actually did get a couple screenings in some theaters in Baltimore, which is ironic, that it was actually playing in more theaters out in Northern Virginia and sooner. But moving on. And the third film, and one that I was so happy to see, and so happy I had the opportunity to see, was Twinless with Dylan O'Brien. Now, this film is one that I feel like I see no advertisements for. The only reason I knew this movie exists is because I saw it on Rotten Tomatoes. I was ironically on there just looking at some stuff for different tomato scores and stuff like that, and I just happened to see this movie was there, and it got like a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes, or 97 it was. It was really highly rated amongst critics, and even the audience was in the high 90s. And I looked it up, and it was playing like nowhere. And I finally seen they had a screening playing in a theater up in Northern Virginia, which has been an hour and a half for me. Hour and a half, depending on traffic. And it only had one screening. It was 11 o'clock at night. Literally one screening, that's it. And that was like the only theater playing it. I looked at the one art house theater I go to, the Angelina Film Center in Moscow. It wasn't playing there. Wasn't playing any other AMC that I could find. And it was just the most obscure film that, again, it didn't really have any screen time at all. It won Sundance. It won this year at Sundance. It won Best Jury Prize for Best Picture. And it also won Dylan O'Brien a Sundance Award for Best Actor Jury Prize winner. Which, again, this film was phenomenal. I am going to do a review on that film as well with the other films I saw. But again, I just feel like there's so many great films that aren't being seen because they just aren't getting given the time of day. And part of my thing is that you have these films, they get the theatrical release, but it's so minute and it's so scarce that it hinders the box office sales, and it makes it look like these films aren't performing when really they're not even given the opportunity to perform. And I feel like that's kind of even worse than having a straight to streaming debut, or like a Prime original or Netflix movie where they kind of make a big deal about it and make it premiere, because at least that way people know about it and you're giving it a chance to shine, and it has an opportunity to be in Netflix top 10 or Amazon Prime, in their top, whatever movie. I think they do a top 10 as well, I think, and have, Prime original and be one of their bigger, rating film, bigger debut films as far as ratings go, as far as viewership. Which again, I know Netflix doesn't release their actual numbers. I don't think Prime does either. But if it even had that opportunity to be in the top 10 and show that these films are being produced and being made and people are enjoying these films, and it's something people would actually see. So it gets which would actually be better, because you're giving the film a chance to really to thrive. Whereas a minor theatrical release with a very small window, minor screenings, and then kind of letting it flow on a streaming and possibly getting some physical release, it's not really giving the film time to shine. It just feels like it came and went. And in retrospect, you're looking at it from a financial standpoint, it's not financially successful because you didn't allow it to be that way. So there's some films I definitely recommend checking out. And, just kind of a thought that kind of came originally to start as a review, but it just really kind of overwhelmed me with this thought that there are so many great films that aren't being seen and aren't giving the time of day. Because honestly, out of the 4 films I saw, those were my favorite 3. I thought honestly that it was going to be a perfect day where I saw 4 films. All 4 of them were fantastic, purely amazing. But unfortunately, the 3rd film I saw, which was The Conjuring: The Last Rites, it just didn't hold up, and I was actually kind of sad about that, because I had kind of high hopes for that one, or decent hopes. Honestly, the fact that Baltimoreans was so good really took me by surprise, because I was expecting that to be my least favorite film of the day, or the one that was kind of like but that one was phenomenal. It was like I had 2 bangers. Saw Conjuring, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as the first 2. It kind of fell in line with 3 for me, but not really. I don't know. We'll do a review on that one. And then, of course, we finished the night with Twinless, which was a long day, 4 films, and then, the drive home, but it was so worth it. And again, the whole point of this video is that there are a lot of great films that just aren't being seen because, again, they're not getting the recognition they deserve. With that being said, definitely be on the lookout for Splitsville, Baltimorean, and Twinless. If you could see any 3 of those films in theaters, go see them. Support these films, because these are the original films that everybody says they want. They're not only original films, but they're just phenomenal films that need to be kind of supported and seen. I feel like we're going through another kind of indie boom, but like on the lower scene. We'll do another video on that probably, because I don't want to make this a 15-minute or 30-minute rant. But that being said, though, there are so many great films. Question is, what are some great films you saw this year that you feel haven't gotten the recognition they deserve? Comment below and let me know.